Please unmute yourself, Pulkit.
Yes, sir, I have corrected that.
Good morning to you, Pulkit.
Good morning,
Please
sir.
introduce yourself to the board.
Sir, good morning to all present. I am Dr. Pulkit Bajaj. I am a resident of Delhi. I'm 28 years old. I did my schooling from Springdale School in New Delhi. I did my MBBS from Maulana Azad Medical College. I joined in 2016 and I completed my degree in 2022. Thereafter, I qualified the UPSC Civil Services Examination 2023, and I am currently working as an officer trainee in at the Indian Corporate Law Service Academy as a part of the Indian Corporate Law Service.
Okay. So you're already cracked the UPSC once, and now you want to better it.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Okay. So, Pulkit, I saw your DAF. You have mentioned that you are an avid cricket player.
Yes, sir. Recently, I've not been playing as much because I'm recovering from a knee injury. But yes, I particularly like cricket, watching as well as playing it.
Okay. Up to what level have you played?
So I've only played till the school level, not above that.
Okay. So, what is happening to the Indian cricket team in Australia?
So currently we are on the third session of the fourth day. It is going on as we speak of the Border Gavaskar Trophy of the fourth test match. The series is currently drawn one apiece, where the third test match was a draw. And currently the match is 50-50. It can go either way depending on how the Australians bat and we bowl. The leads as of now is approximately 245 runs, and Australia only has 4 wickets to go. There are approximately 3.5 sessions of the test match to go, so
All
we'll
right.
see.
All right. Pulkit, please tell me, why is the Indian test cricket team, whenever it goes abroad, it finds it tough to, adapt to the pitches there and not perform as well as it does at the now, even in the home pitches, it has not been doing very well.
सर की ऑडियो आ रही है क्या?
Beg your pardon?
So can I begin?
Yes, please.
So I believe that yes, the New Zealand Test series was a debacle where we lost a Test series on home pitches after a long gap of 12 years. But recently, what I have seen in the last 5 or 6 years is that our performances in away Test matches has improved. Whereas when I was a child, I even winning a Test match on foreign soil used to be a rarity. But now it has almost become that winning that Test series has become an expectation, not only a privilege. So I believe
That is fine, but what may be the reason for our inability to do well abroad, even now?
So one of the reasons I believe is that the Indian Test season is mainly based on domestic pitches, which are better as well as spin friendly. Whereas when we go abroad, especially to continents like Europe and Australia, where the weather and the pitches are such that they are green, so they provide certain advantages to fast bowlers. So we might not be able to tackle them because we spend most of our time playing in batter friendly as well as spin friendly conditions.
Correct. Bouncy and seaming pitches.
Yes, sir.
England seaming pitches, Australia, South Africa bouncy pitches.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And do you think this IPL has done something to, adversely affect our test prospects?
So, as far as I'm concerned, I particularly like the IPL, to be honest. But yes, I can see that now more and more youngsters are more focused on T20 cricket, especially franchise cricket. And the temperament that was required to play a test match is extremely different from what is required to play T20 cricket. And that someplace seems to be lacking. But I would also like to mention that the test cricket itself is changing, where we have seen things like baseball coming in, where fast-paced cricket is applied to test matches as well to make them more interesting. But yes, I believe that more and more cricketers are now taking early retirements from test cricket to focus only on T20 as well as franchise cricket. So yes, I think uh, this situation needs to be addressed.
The patience, which used to be the virtue of test batsmanship, has been adversely affected because of the advent of IPL.
Yes, sir.
You agree?
Yes, sir.
All right. You also like watching football.
Yes, sir.
All right, tell me, India is a nation of 1.4 billion, a little more, in fact, and we have not even qualified even once for the FIFA Soccer World Cup. What can be the reason?
So one of the main reasons is that we have to go immediately after independence to see the reasons, to start the beginning, to see this beginning of the reasons. The golden period of Indian football in the 1950s under S.A. Rahim quickly dissipated into a tragic story where we were invited to play the 1950 World Cup because of logistical issues we could not go. Thereafter, football remained confined to specific regions in the country and could not get major traction. Also, presently, we can see that in Europe and South America, young children as early as 5 or 6 years old are enrolled in football academies and are training. But in India, that takes place mostly at the age of 10 or 11, where these kids are losing 5 or 6 years of their training, which is the foundational training, and they are facing difficulties to adapt to playing at higher levels. Also, we have only seen that only in the last 10 years has private investment come into football in India, whereas earlier there only used to be the Tata Football Academy as far as the private venture was concerned. But after 2014, there have been strides. But yes, this is going to take a generation, if not more, to correct. Because as far as sports is concerned, we have to start at the foundational level when a child is
All
just
right,
learning his game.
I get your point. But I hope even if in one generation what you are saying is correct, then we will have achieved something in football, even it happens in one generation.
Yes, I genuinely hope that it happens uh, while
Oh,
I'm growing up.
okay, all right. Now, one nation, one election has been a hot topic, and it was recently introduced. A bill was introduced in the parliament, and amidst lost of slogan shouting, it was referred to a JPC. Now, what is it all about? And in your opinion, what should be done?
Sir, the One Nation, One Election is about synchronizing elections at three levels, be it the Lok Sabha election, the election to state and union territory legislative assemblies, as well as to the third tier, that is the local bodies. It requires constitutional amendments at various stages to actually become a reality. The issue in here is that a lot of political parties, especially the regional parties, believe that this will lead to clubbing up of national as well as state issues and eventually lead to their downfall. I personally believe that since we have experienced state synchronized one nation one elections before 1967 they were rather commonplace. But I believe that right now it requires a consensus building activity where it is heartening that this has been referred to a JPC made up of all parties so that we can reach a consensus. Yes, I believe it will lead to reducing of costs as well as logistical issues. But there are other logistical issues involved as well. For example, procurement of EVMs needs to be enhanced. The security forces placed would need to be stretched thinner. And also, I believe that the Indian voter is mature enough that we can differentiate between state as well as national issues, as has been seen in states who have concurrent elections with national elections. Yes, I believe that any decision that has to be taken has to be after a broad consensus.
All right. So, in your opinion, it can be done.
So it can be done if all the stakeholders are on board and find a common ground to do it.
All right. All right. Fairly said. Now, one last question. It will necessitate constitutional amendments. If the stakeholders agree, then it would become necessary to bring in constitutional amendment. The NDA does not have the numbers, right? Now, what is the technicality involved for in this condition for bringing about a constitutional amendment? What special majority would be needed in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha?
So under Article 368 of the Indian Constitution, it is defined that to bring in a constitutional amendment, we need a 2/3 majority of people present and voting, and it has to be greater than the 50% of the total numbers. So the NDA will need support of the India Alliance to get this constitutional amendment bill through at both levels, in the Lok Sabha and individually at the Rajya Sabha, since there is no provision of a joint session when a constitutional amendment is concerned.
Good. Thank you. Sushil Kumar.
Pulkit, I just want to know, because you're from the DAF is not clear, what is your optional?
So it's medical science.
Medical science. Okay. Great. We just you mentioned that you are already been selected in the Indian Corporate Law Services, and you
Yes.
are undergoing training since last 1 month or longer?
So I have started this month itself.
This month itself. Okay. So what is your impression so far of the training?
Sir, my impression of the training is majorly positive. The not going into the picturesque state of the academy, but the beginning, we have just completed our establishment module, which familiarizes us with the procedures of government as well as the rules and regulations that a central civil servant is supposed to follow. So yes, it has been a positive experience on the whole.
Good. You represented your school into a student exchange program to Japan. Did you visit Japan, or you hosted the Japanese students here under this
Sir,
program?
I visited Japan.
You visited Japan. Which cities you went?
Sir, I went to Tokyo, I went to Kyoto, I went to a small town called Hinocho in the Shiga prefecture.
Okay, tell me what differences you found in those cities as compared to Delhi.
Sir, as far as the difference is concerned, the number one difference I found was that the respect that they have towards each other is extremely, extremely surprising, as well as there is no differentiation in classes in Tokyo or Kyoto or even in Shiga as we see in Delhi. And the humility that they have towards each other as well as the environment is something that needs to be followed around the world.
What about punctuality?
So that I think is something that is very, very important, but I don't see we following that very soon.
No, that's something. I'm no comparison I was talking.
Yes, so that is something that is stuck, because I want to narrate one incident as well. That our train to go to a school visit came 30 seconds late, and they've scanned our tickets while boarding. And the next day, I had a sorry card in my hotel room from the train company. So only for 30 seconds they did that. I was completely astounded that that happened in the first place.
Yeah. You mentioned that you watch movies and series based on historical event.
Yes.
What do you mean by these based on historical events?
So I believe that some things that have happened in the history that are presented on screen, the timeline can vary. It can be as far as ancient Rome is concerned and as near as the 1990s. But yes, important historical events as well as historical figures, movies and series based on that I particularly like to watch.
So which one you watched last?
So the last one I watched is a documentary series about the fall of Constantinople at the hands of the Ottomans. That is something that I really liked.
And what did you learn from that?
Sir, I learned that only from the cinematography, I learned that it is possible to present an event where, without explicitly saying who is right and who is wrong, it is possible to show equal and balanced side of a story, which I think is not present as such in modern cinema today. But also from the actions of King Constantine the 11th, I learned that a king or a ruler or a leader is represented only to the extent that he serves his constituents. For example, the end scene of the battle, where given the option of fleeing the city or going to his impending doom, he chooses impending doom because he does not want to be away from his people even in his dying breath. So that is something that I have very appreciated about the movie.
Have you practiced also your in medicine? No.
Sir, I am currently enrolled as a postgraduate student at the University College of Medical Sciences in the Department of Anesthesia. I've taken a temporary suspension from the degree. I will be completing it after my probation period.
So you're not practiced as such, apart from the residency.
No, sir.
Mm.
Residencies.
During your residency, I know which hospital you did your residency. You did in Maulana Jahaz or somewhere else?
Sir, it's GTB Hospital associated with
GTB.
University
Yeah,
College of Medical Sciences.
right. So you did your residency in a GTB hospital. What kind of, when you're looking at the patients, what could struck you most?
So, what struck me most, that health-seeking behavior in and around where I was working and studying is not up to the mark, where patients come to the hospital when it's rather late in the course of the disease and they do not come early. So the complications are extremely difficult to treat, as well as the age profile of the patients is not as far as you'd consider in a developed city of old age, but of younger ages as well.
Based on your experience, what the government can do to improve the situation?
So it has to be a multi-pronged approach. It has to start from social awareness of basic diseases, where if we try to engage public representatives and spread awareness about the early stage of diseases, we can improve the health-seeking behavior so that people come to hospitals early, as well as improve primary prevention as well as health protection. Secondly, I believe that mohalla clinics need to be ramped up because currently they're only serving basic needs, which is still overburdening hospitals. And the wait times for medicines as well as tests in mohalla clinics is going up. So I think that needs to be improved so that people can get hyper local healthcare early as possible.
But tell me one thing, based on your experience, there are two complaints that I will take up with you each one separately. One is that over specialization in medicine is killing people. Do you agree with this statement?
So in partly agree, yes.
Secondly, people say that the doctors have no time to explain what, and they don't like to explain to the patient because they think that the patient is cannot understand. Is it? Did you experience this kind of behavior from your fellow doctors?
Yes, sir. Sometimes I did experience this sort of behavior, to be very honest. And I was saddened to see this as well.
Right. You have given Indian Foreign Service as your third option. What area of the Indian foreign policy fascinates you?
So something that fascinates me is the look east and now the act east policy, where our focus is not on Western nations, but on nations in our own backyard who have become partners in our growth, as well as partners in general.
When you say act east, what do you understand from that?
So I understand that a major thrust has been given to our relations, to strengthening our relations and partnerships with ASEAN and ASEAN plus 6 as well, where countries like Thailand, like Myanmar, like Laos, Cambodia, and as far as South Korea, Japan are concerned, we have made an aggressive attempt to make them our partners in growth as well as to be partners in their growth.
Do you think that what India has done so far, we could have done differently, particularly in the case of Myanmar?
So, as it is said that hindsight is always 2020. So yes, something different could have been done to prevent the situation from going into such dire hands that it has now. But putting myself back then, I don't know how I would have even able to change our trajectory because we can only make decisions on the information that is available to us on that day. And going into hindsight can provide a perspective, but it cannot be seen to denigrate the efforts of people who have made those decisions.
But don't you think it is the job of the policymakers to sort of predict what is going to happen and take measures, because that is the job of foreign policy. You cannot be reactive. You have to be active. To be active, you have to predict, which may or sometime may not be. But do you think Indian foreign policy is following that practice, that trying to predict and modulate, or if I can use that term, the outcome?
So I believe that yes, we have shown a proactive policy, not only now but since after our independence, where every administration has made efforts to cultivate peace.
Give me one example of the proactive foreign policy. One example.
So proactive foreign policy, as far as I2U2 is concerned, I would say that is an example of proactive foreign policy, where trying to bring Israel into Israel as well as the UAE.
Was it the India's effort or the US effort?
So primarily it was an American effort, but India did play its part in that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Pulkit, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
So, you have done your MBBS from Maulana Azad.
Yes.
So, please name few institutes established by him.
So currently I can't name institutes established by him, but there are certain institutions that have been established in his name.
Like?
So like the Maulana Azad National Urdu University is one. Maulana Azad Medical College is one, and there's another Maulana Azad College in Uttar Pradesh for arts and commerce.
Okay. 11th November we are celebrating as National Education Day. Why? Why on that day?
So it was Maulana Azad's birthday, because he was the first education minister of independent India.
Okay, fine. There are two terms, Dr. Pulkit. One is pharmacology and other is pharmacognosy.
So I didn't get the second term.
One is pharmacology and other is pharmacognosy. So what is the difference between these two?
So pharmacology is the study of action as well as effects of certain drugs. And I'm not sure about what pharmacognosy is. I'll be sure to read it up after this meeting ends.
Okay. So your optional was medical science. Syllabus of that is very broad.
Yes, sir.
And I think it is not helping also in your GS part, or helping somewhere.
So it is not helping.
Not helping. Okay, but you choose it. So what was your score in 23 in medical science?
So in 2023, I had 273 marks in my medical science optional.
And in interview?
So 170.
170. Okay, got that. Nowadays, there is one term very much in news, forever chemicals. In month of November also it was very much news. So what are these forever chemicals? This is also called as PFAs, perfluoroalkyl substance. What are these and what is their impact on the health?
So perfluoroalkanes are chemical substances that are used in our common life, which do take a long time to degrade, as well as they stay and act as greenhouse gases for a long period of time in our atmosphere. The effect on human health is of a chronic nature, where they destroy the ozone layer slowly, bit by bit, and as a result of that, we see certain diseases like skin cancers, like eye problems increasing because of the excess ozone that penetrates the atmosphere and comes to us.
So, Dr. Pulkit, you are in Delhi right now, and just before this winter rain, we experienced severe air pollution. Is that right? So please briefly just explain the impact of this severe air pollution on the health of elderly people, on the youth and the infant.
So these can be divided according to acute and chronic. As far as acute is concerned, in elderly people, we have seen that an increased incidence of cardiovascular diseases like heart attacks and strokes increasing in people who do not have such risk factors like high BP also. As far as youth are concerned, we have seen that cardiovascular diseases due to air pollution are seen in youth as well, and acutely without risk factors. And in children, cardiovascular diseases are not seen, but it is seen that they find some breathing problems that are of in acute nature. As well as chronic are concerned, in elderly, we see a worsening of respiratory diseases, where elderly people are already at risk of diseases like obstructive pulmonary disease and asthma. In young adults also, this same thing is seen. And in children, a long-term exposure to chronic air pollution is seen as reducing developmental outcomes as well as reducing IQs, in especially in Western countries, but that can be extrapolated to the Indian context as well.
Okay, very well explained. You mentioned about ozone depletion. So last question from my side. Ozone is greenhouse gas? Yes, no.
Sir, it is a greenhouse gas in the troposphere, not in the stratosphere.
Okay, that means in troposphere it is called as bad ozone.
Can you please repeat the
In
statement?
troposphere it is behaving as a greenhouse gas.
Yes.
In strato it is not behaving like that.
So it is a secondary pollutant in the troposphere. In the stratosphere, it is a natural participant.
Okay. So in tropo it is secondary pollutant or greenhouse gas?
So it's a secondary pollutant, not a greenhouse gas.
Okay. Sinha sir, please.
Pulkit, now if you could leave the room for a minute.
Yes, sir.
And we'll call you back shortly.
Yes, sir.
Feedback.
Thank you, sir.
So, Pulkit, I noticed that you are in a hybrid mode, not properly dressed. Right?
Yes. Sir, actually, my blazer has gone for dry cleaning. That is why.
He didn't follow.
So I'll begin with your physical appearance. No, let me say this. You are a good candidate. The things which go in your favor is you are articulate. You're able to express yourself very well, right? But you have already got into one UPSC service, and you are trying to improve upon your performance this time, right? This is an opportunity that you have got. And when is your interview?
Sir, on the 10th of January, 2 weeks from now.
Not much time. All right. I can't ask you to make a major course correction, but there are certain things which I noticed, which you can certainly try and implement. It will help you in performing better. The first is about your physical appearance. I noticed that your hair is combed, but it should be properly combed. Hair strands flying here and there, it gives an indication that the candidate is not taking his interview seriously and is careless. So that part you should take care of yourself. You should be clean shaven. I think you have a day's beard on your face.
No, sir, I cleaned it last night only. You might not be able to see with the camera angle, but it is.
All right. Okay. Now the tie knots should be right in the middle. Okay. And you should have a jacket on.
Yes.
And match your colors. This color of this tie is fine. So I mean, I would not recommend that you should wear a bright red or bright yellow colored tie for a UP.
So this is the tie I'm planning to wear.
Right. That's fine. Now the course correction that I want you to make is you use the word I believe several times.
Yes.
Try to use it less. I mean, sometimes you want to do it, please go ahead, but not much. Secondly, you gave long answers. And that is the most important course correction I want you to make. Okay, the answer should be short and crisp. Clear, short, and crisp. This is the most important part of an interview performance. Please do. Now, I know it's difficult to make this course correction because it is more or less like your second nature. Okay. So what I would say is, recommend is that the short time that you have, think of the important questions that might come to you. You're already through this, so I wouldn't want to go into details. कि DAF भी देख लेना, वो भी देख लेना, वो भी कर लेना, right? But think of the questions. Prepare short and crisp answers. Go over it in your mind over and over again, so that when on the day of the interview, you are able to give smaller and crisper replies. Right?
Yes, sir.
There is not much which I would like to recommend. But yes, what newspapers do you read?
So I read the Indian Express, and recently I started Times of India as well.
All right. These two newspapers should be fine. Read the newspapers carefully, especially the editorial page. And please do remember to read the newspapers on the day of the morning of the interview. Because even if the interview is in the first half, one of the board members might ask you, "Aaj ka newspaper dekha?" You should be able to say, "Yes, sir," even if with a cursory glance, should be able to say, because this next question would be, "Kya important news item aapko yaad hai?" So come
Yes.
one or two news item, you should be able to say that this is what I did not get to read the whole newspapers, but these two or the three important news items I remember. That you should be able to say. And you are a good candidate. You have already proven it once. How much did you say you got? 170.
Yes.
I think with a little bit of luck and some midnight oil, you should be able to add another 20 to 30 marks in your interview. Good luck, Pulkit.
Thank you, sir.
Sushil ji.
Well, I think Sir has already covered most of the aspects, and what I would just try to say is that the questions will come from your DAF only, mostly, and the current event. Since you have given option of the foreign service, so international affairs would be of the development. I mean, we cannot ask you all the questions, but that better have a look at that. In any case, current affairs should be, you should be, and as an advice, look at the newspapers, follow them a bit, and see what are the things. And you don't have to be, you have a good confidence, and if you can smile a bit more, that will be helpful. You have such a pleasing personality, so use it. You have to use what ammunition you have to score better. You already experienced, you have already faced, so you know what kind of attention is there. So if you can try to keep it, calm. Of course, everybody is nervous. Whatever, I mean, if I'm being interviewed, I will also be nervous. No doubt about it. But if you can keep your calm and you're there, because these are the small things which makes a difference, apart from your answers. So from my side, I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck. Tiwari ji, please.
Yes.
Hmm.
So already points are covered. Pulkit, just go through current affairs, and both sir has given a very good insight to you.
Yes.
So all the best.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Pulkit, is there anything from your side that you'd like to ask us?
Sir, there is a specific issue that I'll want to ask you, which is currently doing the news especially in Delhi. That the issue of that advertisement from the health department, from the Delhi health department, the secretary has issued an advertisement that the schemes being proposed by the party in power are not actually there, and you should not register for them. And the government, the CM office has said that we'll issue departmental proceedings against these officers. So if I'm asked a question regarding that case, so how should I go about it? Because I personally believe that if there is no policy, then nobody from the outside can ask you to register for something. Nobody can ask you for a personal details also. So that is something I wanted to ask. And on the other hand, it is it is against the conduct rules for a civil servant to go to speak against the government. So how to approach that particular issue we wanted to ask.
This is a ticklish issue, and you have very rightly said that as a government servant, you're not supposed to, get into political controversies. The best thing is to steer clear. And if somebody asks you, tries to pin you, I don't think people would ask this difficult question because they all know this is a political issue, and it is best avoided.
Okay, sir.
Don't take a stand in the matter.
Okay, sir. That's, I think, the question I had. Thank you so much, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Right. All the best.